Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. This is my weekly Finish It Friday video where you get to see me working on a UFO that I have been putting together for a while. This particular video is about the Heartstrings quilt. It's a quilt that I'm making out of foundation pieced string blocks. And well, that's not right. String blocks that I use a foundation paper to put together. And in this video, I'm actually starting to put together the rows. It is very cool. You can see me taking the paper off. I decided when I put together the top row to take the paper out of the seam allowance. So the seam allowance that is folded, I'm taking it out of that little inside seam so that I don't have to do that later. I'm choosing to take the paper out for most of the blocks once an entire block is closed in or an entire section is closed in. I'm going to take the paper out at that point. So before then, I'm just going to leave it together in the hopes that I can keep everything a little more stable. But once I have the whole quilt together, or even after I have just some parts together where the whole thing is sandwiched up, I'm going to start taking the paper out a little bit at a time. This process is really fun. I love sewing these blocks together. I'm actually putting them on the floor on the first Tuesday, and in the second video, or in a later video, I'm actually going to put them on my sewing table so that you can actually see what they look like together, sort of. But now I'm just doing a little bit at a time. This video is actually 2 weeks worth of UFO videos because I went live last week and I didn't put together the first video. So I just added one more section so that I could have the whole thing together. And I hope that you enjoy this process. Let me know in the comments what you think of this Heartstrings quilt. I'm also working on a 9 patch at the same time, using that 9 patch as my leader ender instead of my usual pell-on strips. So hopefully you can see that I'm taking the paper out and I'm stitching this mostly using the row itself as the leader enders. But then when I get to a certain point, I have to use something else because I'm joining larger pieces of fabric together. So here I have, it looks like the whole row is done, and I'm just taking out the last little bits of paper. So it looks really cool. Now in this next video, this is rows 2 and 3. The first row took the whole 30 minutes, I think, because it had all of the all string blocks in it. But now with this row, it should be a little bit easier because we have some denim squares in here and some half square triangles that have the denim in it. You can see one right there, hopefully, if this if the audio lines up. So I'm doing the exact same thing, just sewing 2 squares together, then sewing groups of 2 together, and so on. I'm alternating the direction of my seam allowances in each row. So for row 1, all of the seams went to the right, and all of my odd rows will have the seams going to the right. But then on the even rows, the seams are all going to go to the left, so that hopefully we get some good nesting once it's time to sew all the rows together. And I did in this first week, I used my fingers to take the paper out, but then in the later video, you're going to see that I found my my tweezers, and that helps a little bit. I don't know really how much time it saves, but it feels like it helps, so that's nice. So I'm doing row 2, I think, right here, and I'm using my I'm using something else as leader enders. Oh, I'm back to my pell-on strip with the leader enders for this one. So it's still a good process. You can see that it really doesn't take long. I know the video is sped up, but I'm really only working in this 30-minute segment so that you can see that. One thing that I'm really excited about is putting this Heartstrings quilt together. It is coming along really great. It's shrinking up nicely. I think it's going to be a twin. It may be like an extra long twin. We'll see. But so far, it's a really fun thing to put together. The blocks are super easy. And I'm right now, I think I took the second row upstairs and I'm back now with the third row. I'm trying to find something to listen to or watch as I put put everything together. Another thing that I'm excited about is that I just finished a commission quilt and I have another commission quilt that's in the works right now as we speak. I already have the box. I'm just waiting to open it. I want to open it on camera, but I do want to open it so that you guys can see it and see what it looks like. I know what it is, but I've only seen pictures of it. I don't think I've ever seen it in real life yet. So, oh, I haven't because the box is completely taped up and everything. I also need to work on my Starlight Starbright quilt. If you're new to my channel, that's a quilt along that I'm working on for every 10th day of the month, but I haven't done that for the last couple months. But I'm going to get the next block done before the end of April, so look forward to that. I'm excited that I went live twice already, and I'm looking forward to my next live video. Not sure when that's going to be yet. I'm still working on it. Here you can see me pulling the paper out using my tweezers. It really helps. It's a little bit, to me, it feels a little bit easier, but it took about the same amount of time to get everything together. But it was still a great process, and I think that from now on I'll just keep my tweezers handy to take the paper out because it makes it a little bit easier. And here you can see that I'm putting the string blocks up on the sewing table, so that makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see, I hope. Now at the end of this video, I am going to take a picture of the quilt so far so that you can see it. One thing I didn't say is this is actually row 12. So this is the very bottom row of the quilt, and I decided to go ahead and do it because it is the only other block or the only other row that has string blocks only. So I thought that maybe I would be getting both of the hardest blocks out of the way, you know, at the same time or first. So I don't have blocks that are as hard, even though I do have blocks that are, I do have some rows that have like as many as 8 string blocks. And so that's basically the same thing. But it feels a little bit easier to do these blocks first, or these rows first. All right, but you can see them up on the table. They look so cool. And here again, I'm using my Pellon paper to do the leader enders to just kind of finish it up. And then I'm going to put everything together and take a picture so you can see it. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, please leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are a subscriber, make sure you hit the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know whenever I release a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!